Sibo, I've been around actually. I've been in the media industry for close to 13 years now. But when I started out in journalism, I started out as a all rounder.
Okay.
So what that means is that basically you do everything.
Calvin Harris said, Nomani, it's checklist. So Sports Journalist Day celebrated on July the 2nd. And I thought, who do I love reading from in terms of sports story? So I had to bring my own. I had to. So we have Limba Mupetami, an award-winning sports journalist from the Namibian Sun. She's here just to share with us her incredible journey in this very male-dominated industry, because she's broken barriers and she's just carved a path for herself. And she's just inspiring many aspiring journalists along the way. And today we're just going to delve a little bit deeper in what really inspired her to pursue sports journalism and a lot more. Limba, welcome to the show. Welcome to 99.
Thank you so much for having me, Sibo.
We're so grateful to have you because you were actually top of mind. Was that intentional for you? It's like when people think sports, they must think of me.
I don't know. I don't know. But thank you so much for thinking about me.
Yeah.
Let's
get into it. How did you get into sports journalism?
Well, Sipo, I've been around actually. I've been in the media industry for close to 13 years now. But when I started out in journalism, I started out as a all rounder.
Okay.
So what that means is that basically you do everything. So I did community stories, I did youth stuff, I did entertainment, I did a little bit of sports here and there. So I've been around, so that's how I basically got into the media industry. In terms of sports, it's quite a story, because back then, having just told you that I did, a host of other stuff.
Yeah.
A former colleague of mine would always tell me, but why don't you just venture into sports? Because every conversation that would arise, I always had something to say about sports. I would always criticize the guys that were doing, writing sports. Then I would be like, why didn't he write the story this way? He could have gone a little bit in depth to cover this and that and that and that. So when she asked me this question one day in our diary sessions, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Why should I do sports? But then I'm a former athlete myself. I played football.
Yeah.
So obviously these conversations will always arise. But I didn't want to do it because there was always this stereotype that if you spoke about sports, you wanted to be a boy.
I see.
So I was like, I do not want to drive that type of narrative. So let me just stay away from it.
Yeah.
But then in 2015, back then I was working for the Namibian, you see. So in 2015, somebody was leaving from NMH. She also did sports.
Nice.
And then I cornered her and I said, listen, when they ask you in your exit interview, you better mention my name. Recommend me, recommend me. Because I was like, I'm ready now. I'm ready. And basically that's how I got into the sports industry.
And I'm sure even back then, there weren't a lot of women writing about sports, because even right now, you're the only one that, like I said, that comes top of mind. All the other journalists, they're still very much male-dominated writers in terms of sports. How have you found yourself just navigating some of the challenges, which you can highlight as well?
Well, the thing, Sipo, is that whenever people have a conversation with you, especially when you're a woman and you're in the sports industry, they always assume that you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So they always try to pick your brain and challenge you. So they'll start conversations hoping that you don't know something. So what I've learned along the way is that I always do a little extra more, to get to know what is happening in the sports industry, so that I can, have a conversation, a proper conversation, a critical conversation, So that I would say has been one of my challenge. People assuming that I don't know what I'm talking about, not forgetting that I'm a former athlete myself. You see, if you're a carpenter, you need to obviously know your trade.
Of course.
So I try to do a little bit extra, and I think with a lot of women that are also in the industry, I would say that they also do a little bit extra, because unfortunately it is the way the world is. True. At the moment, even if we don't want to say that. So if you just go the extra mile, know what you're talking about, be well, informed and well researched about a particular topic, your peers will respect you. And that's what I've encountered over the years.
Now, you've traveled, you've won awards, you've done so much. But is there a story that just brings you so much joy that you can share with us? I remember I covered this story and it was so memorable and it was so impactful.
Well, I can't really, honestly, right now, I've written millions of stories. I can't really pinpoint one and say, this is,
this is the one.
the pinnacle or whatever.
Yeah.
But I would say that with whatever story I write, I try to make a change. You know, I try to help the athletes, because at the end of the day, I'm here because of them. But if I must mention some of the stories that I've written, maybe this year, I wrote a story about a couple of boys at the Osiro refugee camp. They're footballers.
Yes.
So the reason why I wrote this story is basically just to try and shed light on the struggles that they have.
Yeah.
You know, they're refugees, so they struggle to get local clubs to play football for. You know, and when they do happen to find a club, they are underpaid. Do you understand? So I try to shed light on that situation, hoping that somebody can maybe pick up these boys and assist them. I have been following a Paralympic swimmer. His name is Matthias Spider Menangula.
Okay.
So he is basically he doesn't have lower limbs. Okay. So I've been following his career. I've been trying to assist him, and so this guy he's a massive swimmer. You know, but because of resources, you know, he doesn't have finance to, you know, perform compete internationally and so forth. So I've been pushing his story, you know, following his struggles, following his wins and that type of thing. I've written so much about Hilalia Johannes, the marathon queen. At some point I've written stories about, you know, the sneakers that or rather the trainers that she used to run. So I tried to analyze what type of trainers she uses to run. The reason being that, you know, as athletes, you know, or rather as fans, we forget that there's so much that goes into preparing for a massive international competition.
Exactly.
So I wanted to show people, okay, this is what happens if you have the right attire.
It can get you far.
You know, I've spoken to Christine Boma. You know, I've spoken to Christine Boma. I asked her, you know, the moment you're about to blaze through the track, you know, breaking these records, what goes through your mind? Because I want to know, it interests me, you know. And these are the type of stories that I want to bring to my readers. You know, the things that a normal sports journalist wouldn't think about writing. You know, that little, like, wow, I didn't think about that.
The gems in the story.
Exactly. But to round it up, I always try to write things that, or rather create content around these athletes that will help them. Yeah, so I think that's my calling, man.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
You've mentioned Hilaria, you've mentioned Christine Boma, and you know, you also mentioned that you yourself, you're an athlete prior to, and now being a sports writer. How have you found that you're using your pen to just adequately cover of female athletes in the recognition that they deserve? And I mean, right now, even with the brave gladiators and how great that they're doing, it's because of one of your stories that I was like, oh no, they're doing so great, and they're formidable. But again, the support that they're receiving, and like what you're saying, it's because their stories are not told. You know. So how have you found yourself trying to navigate putting a spotlight on female athletes and the work that they do?
Well, Sibo, the thing is, I wouldn't write about a woman just because she's a woman.
Okay.
a female athlete just because. I would write about you because I see what you bring to the table.
True.
I think I have contributed significantly to the sports industry.
I agree.
And I have created a platform for women to, you know, for other journalists also to create content around these ladies. You know, I've given space. I've obviously done so many grassroots stories on female athletes, and not only female athletes now, you know, across the board, you know. But like mentioning, like what I just said now, I wouldn't write about a female athlete just because she's female. You should be able to bring something to the table. It should be something significant. You should be, you know, breaking or reaching the ceiling or whatever, that type of thing. But I would say that a platform has been created. We have created platforms for female athletes. It is up to them, to, you know, to grasp these platforms that have been offered to them.
What are you looking forward to in terms of your career in sports journalism?
Right now, honestly, I feel like I've done everything possible. But of course, there are those things that you also aspire for, you know. I want to mentor. I want I want to mentor the next great thing in sports journalism, whether it's female, whether it's male. And that's what I'm pursuing right now, you know, the education aspect, you know, getting my stuff in order.
You don't see yourself commenting, being a commentator, doing something for TV as well?
I've done a couple of commentating.
Oh, wow.
But TV scares me a little
really?
bit. But I'm also on TV, you know, because I have the sports rep show and all of those things. Yeah, but when I one day decide that, okay, this is not what I want to do, I want to leave it in a better space. I want to teach, I want to give back. But before I do that, of course, I would like to cover the Africa Cup of Nations. I would like to one day cover the World Cup. It doesn't matter if it's hockey World Cup, if it's cricket World Cup, but I want to reach that stage to say, because I want something to brag about.
Yeah, of course.
And say that, you know what, I've been there, and you know, let me teach you how to get there. So that's what I want to achieve before I step down.
So, like I said, you always teach me so much in terms of sports. And I love, I actually love your writing style.
Oh, thank you.
It's
so
easier.
much.
It's palatable, man. It's not so rough.
Yeah.
Because it has such a soft touch to it, and not soft because weak, but soft as in I understand. You know, you're giving me the mechanics of what is happening. So put us on. What can we look forward to in terms of sports in the coming months?
Well, of course, we're getting ready now for the Rugby World Cup in September. We have the Ugandan guys that came now with the cricket that is coming up. You know, they always come here for this friendly cricket stuff. That is some stuff to look forward to. The Brave Gladiators, I was actually at their training yesterday. They're getting ready for the qualifiers, the World Cup qualifiers, I should say. Yeah, they're going to be playing Equatorial Guinea. So I just went to check out how they are doing. The Brave Warriors as well are getting ready for the Kosafa Cup. Should be starting on Wednesday. So those are just some of the stuff to look forward to. And all around this, like, there is a lot happening. So it's, it's what is it, peak season? So we are working really hard to give you guys all of these nice stories and content.
Even that I didn't know. I thought it's winter, we're all sleeping. It's peak season. Limba, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that was our award-winning sports journalist, Limba Mupetami.